Hi, here we are at Lily Home Stadium, home to Blacktown City FC. We're here today to speak with Under-9s head coach Joey Gibbs about training, scouting, diet. We're also here to speak with the president of the club, Mr. Dene. Let's go have a look.
Okay, Joe. Mate, thank you very much for your time. I'd just like to ask you, how do you go about recruiting for your Under-9s youth team?
Yeah, at Blacktown we have a few methods. You know, we obviously rely on the trial process. We have that, but we also like to have a few other options because we know obviously on the day, not every you're not always going to see the best of a certain player, and it's also a little bit false at times in what goes on. But we like to have. We've actually played ages 4 to 8 player program now at Blacktown where we can see players over an extended amount of time before we pick an under-9 SAP team. So that helps us kind of see the best of certain players or certain attributes. We also do things like small auto camps to try and find a bit of talent or certain individuals who come along and might fit our player kind of profile for the Nines.
Can I ask you, Joey, what sort of qualities do you look for in a player? Does Blacktown City have a philosophy type of football and they try to find that type of player, or how does it work?
Yeah, no, at Blacktown we, especially for the under-9s, we obviously focus a lot on obviously it's the skill acquisition phase. So we're looking at the skills in which the player has. So you know that includes their 1v1, their dribbling, their striking the ball, their first touch, things like that. But it's also very important here at Blacktown, the attitude of the kid at a young age. I know they're 9, but it's kind of reflected also in maybe sometimes their parents and things like that. Because you know at 9 you've got so much development left and development to do. So you know if you don't have a good attitude, it's going to be very hard to progress a certain individual, no matter how talented they are.
And how much do the parents get involved? And like say with things like signing contracts and things like that for players, how does that work?
We try and have very little involvement with the parents here. Obviously we respect them and understand what they do is massive to how their kid develops. You know, without them, you know, who's going to get the kid to the ground, who's going to help him out and do everything like that. But yeah, just for the sake of, I guess, being fair and letting the coach, we like to kind of keep the parents out. But in regards to signing contracts, it's year by year here. We sign for a season. We sign a player for a season, and
even if they're under 18, they sign some sort of contract.
Yeah, it's a youth contract. It's different
Okay.
to, for example, because I'm in the first grade team, that would be obviously a different contract. I think it's a certain thing for Football New South Wales which they have. It's a standard contract. It's
Sure.
no money involved with things like that, obviously, but it's just to bind them here for the season.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Now, with training, I've always been very curious. Diet. What do you tell your players? Eat this before the game. Don't eat that before the game. How, do you get a lot involved with diet?
No, not really. You know, at 9 years old, I think they're a kid. You know,
Okay.
They should be a kid.
Okay.
You know, it's not till they're well advanced and really, I guess, playing or till they're at a stage where it's becoming very, very important. Their diet. At 9, it's you go out, you learn, you play, you develop the passion for the game and the techniques and things like that, rather than worrying about what they're eating, because I think that can scare some kids away sometimes.
Okay, sure.
But obviously it's very important when you get older.
Yeah, absolutely. As yourself would know, Joe, as an ex-Western Sydney Wanderer. Now, Joe, just to wrap this up, final thoughts. What do you reckon about the draw for the FFA Cup? How are you going to go against your friends over at Bonaire?
It's a funny one, this one, because already now we've got Sydney United, which was another New South Wales Premier League team. Now we've got Bonaire League, which is another New South Wales Premier League team. A few of the boys obviously wanted a bit of a change, maybe an away trip or at least a different. Well, obviously at home is great to have a game at home. A team that's a bit unfamiliar, but
maybe a Perth Glory.
But on the other hand, we know Bonnyrigg and we're confident we can beat them. So it's good to progress on to hopefully the quarterfinals.
Hopefully,
massive for the club.
Hopefully. Okay, Joe. Well, look, thank you very much for your time, mate. I really do appreciate it. All the best for the season. Good luck for the FFA Cup, and all the best to the under nines. All the best for the season, and thank you very much, Joe.
Thank you.
Now, time for a quick tour of Lily Home Stadium. This is the home team bench. 10 seats for the subs and the reserves to sit and wait to come on. The whole technical area here. It's also protected by a plastic covering for, rain or extreme heat. In the stadium, the club uses artificial turf. Out the back, the club has the big grass fields. So here behind us, we have the grass field that the boys use for training as well when they're not training on the artificial turf in the stadium. Right now we're sitting in the grandstand of Lily Home Stadium. As you can see, the seats are painted black and red. That's to intimidate the opposition team when they come here. Go the mighty Blacktown City FC. Behind me, we've got the cameras that record the kids while they train and play, and then the parents can watch them from the comfort of the cafe. And here's the cafe area. As you can see, tables and chairs for the parents to have coffee and tea, lounges for them to relax, and of course the television screens to watch them train and play, of course on match days. Brian, thank you very much for your time. First question, how much does Blacktown City FC invest in things like youth development programs here at the club?
We invest a lot of money into our youth development, and that comes from the players' fees. So whatever the players' fees raise, we use that back into our youth development. Now that could be anything from insurance, it could be registration fees for Football New South Wales, for FFA, it could be for ground hire, we cover coaching costs, there's other numerous costs that we have to cover for our players in the youth team. So yeah, a lot of the money does go back into it.
Fantastic. What direction is the club looking at taking towards in the near future?
Look, there's been a lot of speculation around about having a second division in the A League. Obviously, that's where we would love to go. We feel we've been at the top of the New South Wales NPL competition for a long time now. We're an ex-NSL team, so I think that direction, us going to a higher level, will be fantastic, and it gives the kids in the area maybe two choices. Not only Western Sydney Wanderers, but there is another team out here that is doing well in the Western Sydney area.
Excellent. Have there been any players come out of Blacktown City FC to go on to the big stage, say in Europe?
Look, there has been some players that have played first grade here that have gone on to do bigger and better things. You look at Robbie Slater as one. You look at Jason Van Blerk as another. And there are another, Scott Jamison played here. So they've gone on to do bigger and better things. But I think in most recent times, and the more notable ones have been obviously Bernie Abini and especially Matt Ryan, who's now playing in Spain.
Yeah, absolutely. Big one. Matty Ryan, thank you for that, Brian. Final question. Are there any young upcoming players we should keep an eye on here at Blacktown City FC?
Well, obviously Danny Choi's the big one at the moment, and with his goal in the FFA Cup recently, that's got a huge number of hits on social media. There's other guys there. You've got Patrick Antelmi, you've got Mitch Malia. There's a couple of guys there that can certainly go on and do bigger and better things. Shane DeCunha, who's come back from Western Sydney Wanderers. So Jono Grosdanovsky, who's currently playing in our 20s. But there are a number of younger players, but it's now going to be trying to keep them here at the club. We've now got Sydney FC and Western Sydney Wanderers entering the Boys Youth League. So a number of our players have gone across to those clubs. So we're losing them now, and we lost them last year. So I think we're the club that they look at first before they look at any other club. So we're trying to keep a hold of those players, and we're forming programs, underpinning programs for our under 9s. So we're looking at now 4s to 8s program. So getting the younger kids in, get them here, settled here for a number of years, and then hopefully when the choice comes to go to Blacktown City or Western Sydney Wanderers or Sydney FC, that they'll stay here, and yeah, we think we can match it with them. Probably we don't have the funds that they do, but we can certainly match, and I think with coaching and the facilities we have here, which you've already seen.
Well, Brian, look, thank you very much for your time. Like you've just said, you guys have fantastic facilities here at the club. The stadium's beautiful. Brian, thank you so much for your time. We do hope that you hold on to those younger players. Hopefully, who knows, a second division A league. You know, that's what all the fans want out there. So, look, Brian, all the best moving forward. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you for your time coming out here.
No, not a problem.
Enjoyed it.
Oh, absolutely, Brian. Thank you very much. Hope you guys enjoyed it too.
Thanks.
And that concludes our time here at Lily Home Stadium. Big thank you to Under-9s head coach Joey Gibbs for talking to us about training, scouting, diet. Also, a huge thank you to the president of the club, Mr. Brian Dene. Fantastic insights into the youth development programs here at Blacktown City FC.